Okay, we got us a new project here. Now, I've had these are steel-toed shoes. And I've had a collection of them in my storage barn because I really don't need steel-toed shoes in a lot of my work. But here lately, I pulled them out because I needed really comfortable shoes. And the thing about putting stuff, especially shoes, in storage, if they get hot then cold, that causes the adhesive to release, and this is what happens. These are virtually new shoes. They probably have no time on them at all. But if I remember right, these were like between $160 and $180. So I looked up online, got some advice, and you can see everything's in great shape on them. Branham, and I believe this one's Nautilus. These are really super comfortable. And this happens, like I said, if they get heat, cool. But it's easy to fix these. I'm going to trim the stuff off. I'm going to clean all this. This cushion, I will glue back down into that place too. Now the glue that the shoe repairmen recommend is contact cement, and this is weldwood is one of three types that are in America. I believe there's 3. There may be more, but not in my area. Anyhow, in this area, this is pretty much it that you can get. But I'm going to clean all this stuff up. You can see that there's residue of glue on there. And originally I was told that it was contact cement that these companies used. Now you can see that it's not fitting in there properly, so I'm either going to have to figure it out or trim it to get it to fit properly. And it looks like I'm going to have to trim that because I don't want any lumps or bad stuff. But there's one right there too. Anyhow, I'm going to glue all that down and scuff this up, clean it very well, get any residue like that, where they sewed them together, off. Now I got these 2 apart and I need to work on this pair. But beware when you're storing stuff away, when they go through heat and cold cycles, that's what releases the original glue. And if I remember right, the original glue that shoemakers use is kind of cheap. And so the shoe repair guys say to use the contact glue to put these back together. Now, if you don't know anything about contact cement, what it does is, say I got this done, I'm going to get this all clean, let it dry up good, and I'm going to paint this cement in the area that I want it to adhere to this. And then I'm going to paint this with that cement. And then I'm going to put them 2 apart for about 30 minutes to an hour. I got to go over the instructions again. It'll get tacky. Now, contact cement means that it makes contact with each other. So I'll have to carefully put this in place, lock it down, and once the 2 glues touch each other, they're together permanently. And that's how that works. These are a great pair of shoes. I do not need to go spending money on the shoes right now. And they're very comfortable. And that's another good reason why I'm keeping them. So I've got to take these apart. These started coming apart. Well, where was it? I know one of them was starting to come apart. Yeah, see that? So I'll finish taking these apart and getting these prepped. And once I get all these apart, I'll clean the dickens out of them. I got to get these back in where they're supposed to be. Clean, get that prepped, like I said, and paint them down and get it all set up like that. I'll do another couple of videos to go along with it to give you a good idea. But shoe goo was another one that's sold at Walmart, which is easy to come by. So that would be another. They said I've heard good reports out of that one. But the professionals use contact cement, so that's what I'm going to do. This was around $11, and I know I don't need that much. I should have got the smaller one, which would have been $7, but I didn't really know how much I would need. I didn't know how many shoes I needed to fix at the time, too. I need to go look at my other ones and see which ones of them need fixed. But let me start taking these apart and doing some prepping work. Okay, step one is to remove the shoe and the sole completely. Like these weren't completely removed, so I removed them completely. And what I'm doing right now, step two, is using, it shows nail polish remover, but it's actually acetone. So you can get this pretty cheap at the Dollar General store. And what we're trying to achieve is remove the old glue. These haven't been cleaned yet. These are for the different one. These had inserts, foam inserts, that I was gluing back in. That's what all this white crap is. But this stuff right here is the original glue that you can see in the corners. And I will be cleaning that with nail polish remover and a rag. This one and this one I've been working on. This one does have an insert that came out with it. I'll have to glue that back in place. It appears to be a piece of leather, and I'll have to glue it back in place. But for now, I was working on this stuff to get as much of the old glue out as possible and clean it as much as possible. Now another thing with these is, and this is for later when you glue it, need to get this down, need to get all these threads out of the way, get that down, and stuff like this, see that's porous and not a smooth surface, will require 2 coats of glue. The first coat you need to put on this and let it dry completely, but let me get to that later. What I want you to do, like I say, when you get this ready to glue, before you glue, you put it together like that, and you're going to take this marker and you're going to trace around here. That way you have a line not to go above when you paint your glue on this. And because this one, when you paint, all you got to do is get on, when you paint your glue, you need to stay just inside. But here, you don't really, you need to mark your lines on what not to get past. So, I'm cleaning these right now. We'll call that the second step. And trying to get these, get the crap out. And using acetone and a brush, or a rag, and then I'll mark my lines on here, and that's to guide me on where not to put my glue past on this. So that'll be phase 2. Let me get to cleaning these over here. Okay, one of the steps I was showing you guys, or talking to you guys about, was to put some tape down on after you mark where the glue line is supposed to be. And this is a tape that I happen to have in the shop. It's used for painting and laying stripes down on cars. And that is 3/8 inch right there. Now, I could have used just, any kind of old duct tape, but that's what I had out there. And I got all 4 of my shoes done up, and I've just been going back and trying to, make sure it sticks down into these areas that I'm going to glue. And I just want it to have a sharp line, and that's something that'll keep, because when I paint this, after I get the glue painted on it, I'm going to take like a paint can and put it, on top of it, or a can of beans or whatever. And that way it'll sit up like this. And that's kind of the reason why I have that tape on there, and I want you guys to do stuff like that. Like I said, this is, painters use this, and I just happen to have it. Now if you don't have one of the a lot of the glue, contact cement will have you take the lid off and there'll be a brush attached to the lid, and I don't think mine does, so I keep these around. These are called acid brushes, and they're from Harbor Freight. And I'll paint, I'll put wood glue on, I'll do whatever with these brushes because they are a throwaway brush. You get about 20 or 50 of them in a package, and I keep a couple of these around, and they don't cost much. I think it's hog hair, but anyhow, it does the job, and so that's what I'm going to use to paint my glue with. So I wanted to show you guys. I'm going to go back through, put these back down. Now this thin tape like this has the ability to move, and you see how I kind of moved it around, but you see my line right there too. And this one, compared to them other 2 shoes that I have over there, has a funky design to it, and but you can see the line and how that's gonna work out. But off to the next video. Okay, as you can see, I've used a paint can, and I slid these on top of there, and that's how I'm gonna set these up. So when I start putting that contact cement on there, I made a little makeshift table, and I just set these up that way they can dry like that. And I'll set my soles down here and put this contact cement on. I'm going to put one on and let it dry, and then I'm going to come back and do a second one and let it tack up, and then put the 2 together. Because of the rough surfaces, I want more of it to get down in there deeper. And it also said in the instructions, if there's a rough surface, if it's not smooth, that you need to let the first one dry, and the second one will help, adhere. The glue adheres to the glue, and so that'll work out pretty good for that. So I'm gonna get busy doing that, and put some contact cement on these. Okay, I've got these painted the contact cement onto these and the soles, and I'm going to let them dry. I made sure I got up through the edges because that's where a lot of adhesion is going to happen. Now this is a type of glue that sticks to itself. That's why it's called contact cement. Now I should have put tape on the outside edge of this as to keep any from coming over, because I did notice that I had some that come over the edges, and that's not going to look good. But I'm going to let these dry. Now you need to work on these in a it's set around 60 to 70 degrees temperature. Also, when you paint this contact cement on, make sure you are outside. I'm wearing some gloves, but the thing about being outside is that this stuff stinks. I mean, the smell that's coming off this stuff. Whoo! Do not do this inside. You see I got a fan on? I'm going to be turning that on here in just a minute to be able to move them fumes around. This is in my shop, and it's like, crap, does this stink. I mean, it's well, anyhow, that is as far as coating, the first coat. And I'm going to keep this inside, keep it at the right temperature. This is the brush I used, acid brush, and that's what I use to open the lid. But anyhow, that's it for getting the glue on there. And I should make sure these are not touching. Okay. So that one's going to dry, and come back and do some more work on it probably tomorrow. So video out. Okay. When I laid the shoe into the sole, I used I put the heel in and I rocked it in like that and sealed them in like that. I wished I could have videoed it, but I didn't think about putting the camera on a stand. Now I just got through putting on all the seams around there on all these just GS 121. It's a permanent, flexible, water-resistant seal. It's a gutter seam sealant, and so that's what I put on them edges to seal it up and make this permanent. I'm gonna let this dry overnight, and I don't think it's going to affect the looks of it at all. But I'm going to let that dry overnight and then start using these boogers again. Yeah, I didn't do too bad a job on that. But you try to squish, put your hand inside like this and squish it down on a hard surface to get it for them two to make contact. When they make contact and touch, that's when the contact cement works really good. So I'm going to let them dry and call this video good. And that is another way. You'll find many ways to put shoes together, but I believe the contact glue or cement is the best way to do it. So I'm going to call this video quits, and you guys have a good one, and we'll see you on my next video.